Alright guys, welcome to day number 368 of A Wonderfully Too Old Christmas. Not the actual title of the series. I've probably made that mistake about 5 times up to this point. We've had a couple of dark beers recently. And not gonna lie, it's been a few days since I recorded the last episode. And I've completely forgotten which number we are on today. Thankfully, the resourcefulness, or the resourceful angle, I should say. No. Resourceful side of me, there we go, proper England, actually filmed the unveiling in advance. So let's find out what number we're going to be looking at today. This series isn't awkwardly staged at all. Today, as you saw, we've got a big boy. Well, you've had a big boy for the past. But yes, so we've got the julemilk, which, of course, jule is Christmas, I think, in Danish. So when we did this one, the let milk, I'm not sure what let means, but why did I just bring that up? Yeah, so anyway, we've done the younger brother. I'm not putting the middle finger up at you, by the way. I respect you more than that. But yeah, so we've already done the younger brother of this beer. Or it could be sister. We don't assume gender here on the Clueless Drinker channel. So yeah, julemilk, which is an imperial milk stout, clocking in at an absolutely stonking 15% ABV. A 15% imperial stout on a school night. I've heard a hell of a lot about this beer, and I'm very excited to give this one a try. So this, as I said, an imperial stout, and I'll read you the little blurb on the label. So Xmas is here, and Santa has brought some of his evil black Xmas milk. You might want to rephrase that. And watch out for this vicious elf's beer, Niro, a 15% super tanker imperial milk stout. Or it just said, yeah, imperial milk stout. Can't read today. So a classic, you know, higher ABV imperial stout without any the addition of adjuncts or flavourings. And yeah, brewed at de prof. And lovely artwork once again from Kasper Ledet. It goes really nice side by side with its younger sibling. So, I've waffled on for way too long. Oh, by the way, there's going to be a little bit of an extra clip at the end of this video because I've got some cinnamon swirls in the oven. Well, I'm preheating the oven as I'm recording this. And so I'm going to be pairing this hopefully wonderful imperial stout with some cinnamon swirls. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, on to the beer. So let's in fact get ourselves set up correctly so you can actually see the beer itself, because we might not have decorations on the channel, but we do take things seriously, as you've clearly seen. But yeah, there we go. Look how beautifully staged that is. It's picture perfect. Anyway, so let's get this beer opened and see what we get. Plain black crown on this one, so that can go in the bin. And oof, smell it already. So let's see what this looks like. And that is pouring really nicely. It almost looks like it's not pouring as heavy as the session version, but nice levels of carbonation. It's, you know, it's like we've hit oil. You know, we're not onto there will be blood territory, but it's still a nice glug. And lovely head on that beer as well. 2 things worth of a sort of like a coffee creamer looking head. Quite dark, as you would expect. And yeah, nice compact bubbles. And the beer itself is pretty much jet black. So yeah, it's looking pretty damn spot on, isn't it? Anyway, so let's see what we get from the nose. Loads of dark fruits in this one. Dip your nose in for good luck. Yeah, lovely roasty malty tones in there. A little bit of a gentle sweetened coffee. A little bit of a dark chocolate. It's sort of smelling like German Lebkuchen. It's almost like this sort of like gingerbread aroma about it. But very dense, very cakey and dessert-like. A little bit of an earthy woodiness in there as well. Beautifully balanced beer. Yeah, for a 15% ABV Imperial Milk Stout, you're really not getting any detection of that ABV. But yeah, it's smelling really good. Looks good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Should I just do the rest of the review sat like this? I think people would be much better off if I did. Cheers! Mm. Oh. Was not expecting that. Wow. That is a bold and in-your-face Imperial Stout. Just like instantly, as soon as the beer touches your taste buds, it's like an explosion on the mouth. First and foremost, I'm getting sort of like a sweet cooking sherry flavour in there right away, which is really lovely. And it's got loads of like forest fruits in there, hedgerow fruits, loads of blackberry, blackcurrant, that sort of thing. Okay, that's a very potent Imperial Stout. And I think that's the way an Imperial Stout should be at 15%. You should know you are drinking one, and boy, do you get that impression. You get those desserty tones on the nose, but this to me is like all about that big upfront, like boozy, without it being harsh or like tasting like ethanol, which some higher ABV beers can have. It's almost like there's chili in it because it's burning the back of my throat and it's warming me as it's going down. One thing that really strikes me about this beer is it's really quite heavily hopped. That's the impression I'm getting. Loads of resiny flavours about it. So I'm not too sure how they have hopped it, or if they've heavily hopped it or not. But I'm getting this like really strong, almost like black IPA vibe about it. But then you get these lovely cakey tones in the background. You can feel the alcohol lingering on your breath with every sip of this, which again is a good thing, because how many times you had these Imperial Stouts where, because of all the additions, it masks that alcohol to make it such a deceptively drinkable beer. This is still, I'm drinking it probably a bit too easy, but man alive, that is tasting really quite intriguing. Yeah, loads of fruitiness in this one. Lovely bold mouthfeel about it as well. It doesn't actually last too long on the palate because the carbonation comes through. So it's a little bit more carbonated than you might think, but not to the point where it's like, oh, it's a bit too carbonated. I think it's just right for the flavours and the booziness. I think the consistency of the beer is really working wonders in that regard. But yeah, this is... I've not really had too many Imperial Stouts that have tasted like this, to be honest. And I mean that in the best way possible. There's just some these twists and turns. It's not subtle. It's not nuanced. It's just like in your face. This is something different. And yeah, it's a beer not to be dicked around with. Do you know what I mean? But that's tasting really damn good. A little bit of coffee, woody earthiness in there as well. There's the subtlest of chocolatey tones. A little bit of a roasted malt. But it is tasting really quite fruit forward, which leads me to believe that it might have some addition of some American hops in there, which all adds to a really rather unique drinking experience. It's very sticky on the end as well. Rephrase that. I was going to say it's a sticky finish, but that's even worse. There's no way I can explain how sticky this is without it sounding a tiny bit sexual. But yeah, my lips are sticking together. But yeah, a really big fortified wine character coming through. You could almost mistake it for port. and it's almost as if it's been barrel aged. It really, really is. Yeah, that beer is packing an absolute punch. And I was not expecting that at all. Yeah, that's a wonderful, wonderful little beer. This is definitely one of those ones where I believe they do 750s. That would be a perfect beer to share with friends. Because that's going to take me a while to finish that bottle, just because of how upfront it is with flavour and that presence of alcohol. And again, I think that's a really good thing with a beer like this. Because, you know, it's all about... Brewers seem to be like, how drinkable can we make this beer? How, like, easily palatable can we make this beer? No, every now and then it's good to know that you're drinking a high ABV beer without it tasting like it's not brewed properly, like some beers can when you get the alcohol. So, yeah, a real change of pace, and I've not had too many Imperial Stouts like that. But, yeah, that's tasting absolutely terrific. Definitely the best beer of the box thus far. In fact, I don't think there's anything I would change about this beer. It's something a little bit different, but feels classic at the same time. In this age of putting like flavourings and God knows what in Imperial Stouts, which I'm a big fan of, because you can get some absolutely wonderfully doughy and decadent flavours. But yeah, that's a real treat indeed. It's almost one of those beers that I'd have happily waited until like Christmas Day to drink it. And it's definitely one that I will be buying in the future. Maybe buying a couple of bottles and seeing how that would mature or develop, and see what flavours might come into play, what flavours might die down, will it become milder, will the sort of like tannins come through a bit more. But yeah, if you want something a little bit different, especially right about now when stuff like Bourbon County is coming out, then give this a try, because if you love your bold beers, then you'll definitely love it. And if Paul, if you're watching this, you'll probably say it's too thin, but I think you're going to really love this beer. And I know Harry from Blue Nose Beer Reviews got the 2-old calendar as well, so really interested to see what he thinks of it. But yeah, what a real surprise this beer is. And it's the first 10 out of 10 for this series. I think that's just a wonderful beer. So if you've tried it, let me know your thoughts and opinions. And if you haven't, do yourselves a favour and give it a try, because I was blown away by how flavoursome and powerful this session version was. But this is like a completely different animal. And yeah, it's definitely lived up to the reputation, and one that I will definitely be buying again in the future. So yeah, if you've tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions. If you've still yet to try it, give it a go as soon as possible. And yeah, 10 out of 10, fantastic beer. So yeah, of course, all of 2-old's links are down below, as well as the playlist, so you can watch all the reviews up to this point, as well as my general 2-old playlist, because they're one of my favourite breweries. And I've said it before, but this box is going down a real treat for me. I'm enjoying every single beer that I've had so far. So yeah, I think it's about time that we get our tankard of truth. I'm not going to call it that, because it's got nothing to do with what we're actually using it for. So yeah, I tell you what, the next beer has a hell of a lot to live up to. So let's give it a shake, bit of a fumble inside, and see what number we get next. Put you there. So, oh, picked out 2, put 1 back. Tomorrow we will be looking at number 18. So, very intrigued to see what that beer is, and hopefully you're intrigued enough to stick around and find out for yourself. So, wonderful beer, just phenomenal stuff. Give it a go if you haven't already. And if you've enjoyed the beer review and you don't want to say any more, then you can end the video now, because in just a few clicks of a button, doesn't make sense, I'm going to be pairing this beer with a cinnamon swirl and seeing how that goes, which I figured it might not work as well as I thought it would do initially, because I was not expecting this stout to go down the way it has. So yeah, so if you just bear with me 1 second, you'll probably see a considerable Small amount of beer left over, and we shall see how it pairs with some cinnamon swirls. See you guys in a sec.